Now tonight, NTV can confirm that fuel shortage, which has been experienced in some parts of the country, was primarily caused by hoarding of fuel by oil marketers who are anticipating a shortage due to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. The phenomenon now pits oil marketers with the government on pricing as consumers rush to panic buy. NTV's Brian George Otieno is back from around the city on a fact-finding mission of the fuel situation and our reports.
It's been 4 weeks since the conflict between the United States and Iran began. In Nairobi, Kenyans may have just started feeling the heat of it as what looks like panic buying or fuel hoarding or both ensues. Reports have it that oil marketers are already rationing supplies. For instance, early Tuesday, fuel stations along Mombasa Road experienced long queues with motorists hoping to fuel at the earliest convenience. It's 2:46 p.m. East African time, and I am at State House Road right here in Nairobi. And what we're seeing is queues. Spoken to one fuel attendant here, and they're telling us that fuel just got in. That means there was a shortage earlier on in the day. Other stations were fairly calm, recording normal business. The purchases now signaling pressure on the oil marketing companies by consumers as the OMCs decry either selling at lower costs to break even or sometimes at a loss altogether as they suffer the aftermath of the ongoing war.
Meaning that we might have the stocks, but we as business people are not able to sell. Why? Because the price we are getting the product at is higher than the price that we are supposed to sell at. And we are again saying the government has said it is going to pay subsidies. But how can the government pay a subsidy of 70 shillings per litre? That's a lot of money. And which business person has the money? This is almost double the cost that you are using before.
The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority had earlier said the government may revert to Petroleum Development Levy (PDL) as a temporary solution to the imminent price hike on fuel as consequence of the Middle East tensions. However, Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro says that the government must now forego the 7 shillings levied at fuel pump as Petroleum Development Levy, and together with the 16% value-added tax on fuel products to cushion Kenyans from the ripple effects of higher fuel prices.
The same way they added the 7 shillings of fuel levy through a gazette notice, now a time has come for them to reciprocate to Kenyans. Kenyans have been paying this additional VAT for the last 3 years. Kenyans have been paying the additional fuel levy for the last many months when the global oil prices were falling. Now that there is a reversal of that, it is now on the side of government to also reciprocate by cutting VAT from the current 16% to even 0%, and also thinking about how to denounce and recede the 7 shillings fuel levy.
The Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya, POC, says that about 20% of the outlets were affected after the regulator IPRA froze pump prices despite rising global oil costs. Ahead of the next pricing cycle by IPRA, the country has 19-day stock of super petrol and 15-day stock of diesel. UNEPIA says there is no stock crisis but a supply chain crisis, and they are not able to sell because of the pricing difference. The incentive of lower prices at the global level never also trickled down locally, hence the difficulty for OMCs to absorb the costs any longer.
Losses of 70 shillings per litre means if you sell 10,000 litres of fuel, you are losing 700,000 shillings. That's a lot of money. So if we were to change the prices, they will be between a hike of 25 shillings to 80 shillings, depending on the ship. And that's why we are requesting EPRA to sit down again and think on how we are going to do pricing. If they are going to remove the cap completely and let the laws of supply and demand prevail, or they are going to price per cargo.
Brian George Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.